Elizabeth MacGeorge collapsed on the marble floor. Her body convulsed, her hand clutching at her chest. Caleb heard it from his study. A gasp, then the dull thud of impact. He ran. Her breathing was shallow, desperate. His hands shook as he dialed 911. My mother collapsed. She can't breathe. Please send someone now. The operator's voice droned. He was helpless. Then the elevator chimed. Past midnight. The doors opened. A woman stepped out with a cleaning cart. She took in the scene instantly. No panic. She dropped the cart, pulled on latex gloves, and knelt beside Elizabeth. Her hands moved with precision. She checked the pulse, tilted her head back, and listened. Then she asked, "How long?" 2 minutes, he responded. She positioned Elizabeth on her side, keeping the airway clear. "Elizabeth, you're going to be okay. Help is coming." Within minutes, sirens wailed. Paramedics rushed in. When they asked about Elizabeth's condition, they turned to the cleaning woman, not Caleb. She gave them everything: vitals, timeline, medication. They nodded with respect. As they loaded Elizabeth onto the stretcher, Caleb found his voice. "Thank you, I don't even know." "My name is Adaeze," she said simply. "I hope she's okay." She disappeared into the hallway with her cart, leaving Caleb standing alone, his world tilted. Who is this woman? If you're already hooked by this story, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications, because what happens next will blow your mind. Like this video and comment below. Would you trust a complete stranger to save your mother's life? Let's go. Adaeze Okafor's alarm went off at 4:47 a.m. She was already awake. Sleep came in fragments these days, never deep, always interrupted by the weight of her responsibilities. She lay in her tiny studio apartment, staring at the ceiling, mentally preparing for the day ahead. Nursing school lectures started at 7 a.m. She had to be at the university by 6:45. That gave her exactly 1 hour to shower, dress, grab coffee, and study the materials she'd highlighted the night before between janitor shifts. She dressed in her university clothes, light blue medical scrubs, clean and well-fitted, her worn backpack with textbooks that cost more than her monthly rent. She made instant coffee, black, no sugar, affordability over taste. The lectures came together. Adaeze sat in the front row, notebook open, pen moving constantly. She absorbed everything. Pharmacology, patient assessment, critical care protocols. Her professors noted her, the young woman who asked sharp questions, whose grades were exceptional despite the obvious exhaustion etched into her face. But they didn't know her full story. None of them did. By 3 p.m., lectures ended. Adaeze had 4 hours before her night shift began at 7 p.m. She spent those hours in the library, studying, completing assignments, and preparing for exams. She couldn't afford to fall behind. One bad semester meant losing her scholarship. One lost scholarship meant everything crumbled. At 6:30 p.m., she changed into her janitor uniform in the university bathroom. Simple gray pants, gray shirt, name tag. The transformation was immediate. She was no longer a nursing student. She was an invisible staff member. She clocked in at MacGeorge Tower at 7 p.m. sharp. The night shift was a different world. Empty office floors, quiet hallways. She pushed her cleaning cart methodically, working alone, her mind splitting between the tasks in front of her and the anatomy exams she'd taken that morning. Her back ached, her feet ached, her eyes burned from exhaustion, but she kept moving. This was her life every single day, nursing student by morning and afternoon, janitor by night. She'd never seen the person who lived here, Caleb MacGeorge, the billionaire CEO. She'd heard rumors about him, cold, distant, all business, the kind of man who didn't see people like her. People like him didn't notice people like her. This was her rhythm. This was her life. Every day is identical to the one before. Every night, the same grind. Every morning, the same exhaustion, masked by determination. She was 24 years old, and she felt ancient, but she refused to stop. Stopping meant failure. Failure meant letting everyone down. She didn't know that her world was about to change. She didn't know that one night, one emergency, one moment of being needed would shift everything. Caleb MacGeorge was a man of routine. Wake at 6 a.m., gym by 6:30, office by 8, back home by 9 p.m., dinner alone, sleep by 11. His life was efficient, controlled, empty. He'd built an empire worth billions, but he'd done it by training himself to feel nothing. Emotion was weakness. People were transactions. Love was a luxury he couldn't afford. His mother, Elizabeth, was the only exception. She was the only person he allowed close, but even that relationship had grown distant over the years. He visited her twice a month. They had dinner. They talked about business, about her health, about nothing that mattered. She wanted him to be happy. He told her he was. They both knew it was a lie. The night Adaeze came into his life was the night his mother collapsed. The hospital waiting room was cold and sterile. Caleb sat with his head in his hands, replaying those terrifying minutes. His mother had survived a minor heart attack. The doctor said she was lucky. Another few minutes without intervention could have been different. But it wasn't luck. It was her. Adaeze. He learned her name from the paramedics. They mentioned it in their report. The young woman on scene provided excellent care. She clearly has medical training. Caleb's investigator had her full profile within 48 hours. Adaeze Okafor, 24, night janitor at Mac George Tower, full-time nursing student, exceptional grades, minimal income. She was grinding, sacrificing. Everything Caleb had forgotten how to do. When his mother was discharged, Caleb made a decision. He called his building manager. I want Adaeze Okafor assigned to my penthouse exclusively. Increase her pay by 50%, effective immediately. Sir, that's highly unusual. Do it. He didn't explain. He didn't need to. Adaeze noticed the change the next evening. Her supervisor pulled her aside. You've been reassigned. Penthouse level exclusively. You're working directly for Mr. Mac George now. Your new hourly rate is 50% higher than before. Adaeze's mind reeled. 50% more money meant she could cut her hours. It meant sleep, real sleep. It meant her grades might improve. It meant survival became less precarious. She didn't understand why this was happening. She didn't ask. She couldn't afford to question good fortune. What she didn't know was that Caleb had decided her presence mattered. That she mattered. The first time he spoke to her was 2 weeks later. She was cleaning his study when she heard footsteps. Caleb entered still wearing his suit, looking exhausted from a long day of meetings. Adaeze, right? His voice startled her. She turned, maintaining professional distance. Yes, sir. I wanted to thank you again for what you did for my mother. She nodded, uncomfortable with attention. I'm glad she's okay, sir. He studied her for a moment. You're studying nursing. It wasn't a question. Yes, sir. Full-time, I imagine, while working nights. Adaeze didn't respond. How did he know that? He continued quietly. That's a sacrifice. That's a commitment most people don't have. She didn't know how to respond. No one had ever acknowledged what she was doing, what it cost her. She returned to cleaning, her heart beating faster. What do you want to do? He asked. After you graduate. No one had ever asked her that. Emergency nursing, she said softly. Critical care. Helping people in their worst moments. Caleb nodded. Something in his expression shifted. You're good at it. Better than good. You saved my mother's life. 3 months later, Elizabeth had a setback. The doctors were concerned. They recommended someone stay with her full-time, someone who understood medical care, someone trustworthy. Caleb called Adaeze without hesitation. I need your help. My mother needs care and I trust you. Would you consider staying at my home for a few weeks, full-time? I'll pay whatever you need. There was a long silence. Adaeze's mind raced. Classes, her job, but Elizabeth needed her. Yes, she said. I will. She didn't know she was walking into something that would change both their lives. Adaeze moved into the guest room on the 3rd floor. The first night, Elizabeth was restless. Her pain medication wore off faster than expected. Adaeze stayed awake, monitoring vitals, adjusting pillows, speaking softly whenever Elizabeth woke in discomfort. By morning, Elizabeth slept peacefully for the first time in weeks. Caleb found Adaeze in the kitchen making tea, exhaustion clear on her face. You didn't sleep, he said. She needed me, Adaeze replied simply. Something shifted in Caleb's chest watching her. This young woman who'd chosen his mother's comfort over her own rest. The days blurred into routine. Adaeze attended her morning classes, rushed back by afternoon to care for Elizabeth. Caleb adjusted his schedule, coming home earlier. He'd find Adaeze reading medical journals while Elizabeth napped, or helping his mother with physical therapy. He watched how she moved through the penthouse, no longer invisible, but essential. how his mother's face brightened whenever Adaeze entered the room. One evening, Adaeze was on the balcony, staring at the city lights. She looked small, fragile, exhausted. Caleb stepped out. "You should rest." She turned, startled. "I have an hour." "You're running on fumes," he said quietly. "You're brilliant and determined, and you're killing yourself." Adaeze's eyes filled with unexpected tears. No one had ever said that to her. Late-night conversations became routine. Caleb would find her in the kitchen at 2 a.m., unable to sleep, her mind churning about exams and her mother and her future. They'd talk for hours. About her dreams, about his loneliness, about the weight of expectations. She told him about her family back home, about how she couldn't fail them, about how every day felt like walking a tightrope. He listened, really listened, not as an employer, as a person who saw her, truly saw her. One night she broke down. "I'm so tired, Caleb. I don't know if I can keep doing this." He pulled her close without thinking. "You don't have to do it alone anymore." She looked up at him and something shifted between them. The line between professional and personal blurred. Neither of them pulled away. The moment came naturally. They were in the kitchen at 3 a.m., coffee brewing, the city silent below them. "I want to sponsor your education," he said. "All of it, your tuition, your books, everything, so you can focus on school without working nights." Adaeze shook her head immediately. "I can't accept that. I can't be indebted to you." "It's not debt," he said. "It's investment. In you, in your future." "Why?" she whispered. He stepped closer. "Because I'm in love with you. Because watching you sacrifice everything has shown me what actually matters. Because you make me want to be better." Adaeze's breath caught. She'd felt it growing between them, but hearing the words changed everything. "I'm scared," she said. "So am I," he admitted. "But I don't want to be scared alone anymore."
She accepted. Not immediately, but eventually.
Exhaustion gave way to hope. Time jumps. 6 months later, Adaeze stood in her cap and gown, her nursing degree in hand. Caleb watched from the audience, tears in his eyes, something she'd never seen from him before. His mother sat beside him, beaming with pride. After the ceremony, he took her to the rooftop garden of his penthouse. Sunset painted the sky orange and pink. He got down on one knee. "Marry me, not because you need saving, because you've already saved me." She said yes before he finished the sentence. The whole atmosphere was so emotional as they kissed for the first time. The camera pulls back, showing them silhouetted against the sunset. Two people who'd found each other in the darkness and brought light back into both their lives. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe and turn on notifications for more stories like this. Comment below, have you ever met someone who changed your entire life? And hit that like button. Thank you so much for watching.